Terrific.
App.
There he is.
There he is.
Last. Oh, boys.
How we doing?
Not too bad. Are you
Oh, you're
guys?
geared right up, Jess. What time's practice at?
Right now?
So I should keep you as long as possible then, so you don't have to run stairs or anything, or what?
I'm not running stairs to begin with. Auburn might need some stairs, though. I think he's been away for a while.
Was this?
You just getting back or what?
I got back on Wednesday. And
Yeah, how's it been so far?
I told myself I wasn't drinking once I got home, and I've been drinking every night.
Right. We should probably start since we're recording.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Ready, guys? All right. So hello, everyone. Welcome to our second Facebook Live event of the 2022 season, presented by Johnston, Meier Insurance. I'm Mackie Jenner, one of the social media coordinators for the WLA this season. We're super excited to have you all join us today, just 6 weeks into our first season back in 2 years. We've had some thrilling games this season, and I'm super excited to have some familiar faces from around the league join us. But first, let's introduce our host, Jake Elliott, known as the voice of the WLA, and he'll take it from there. So Jake, go ahead.
Thanks, Mackie. We probably should have coordinated wearing this.
Yeah, right.
I digress. Welcome everybody to Facebook Live here. Like Mackie said, our second installment. First, we had coaches, a couple of GMs. Now we got the players on here for installment number 2. You can see the man in the middle there, Jesse King. He's ready for practice here. And I know a couple other guys have commitments coming up here as well. So we'll try and keep you like 45 to the next hour or so, which doesn't really leave a lot of time for everybody. I kind of did the math. It's like 8 minutes per guy here. So I'm sure you guys can power through this. As I'll introduce everybody first. From Coquitlam, my top left is Vincent Ricci. On my other side is Kevin Reed from the Maple Ridge Burrards. We have Laszlo Henning from the Burnaby Lakers. Center square is Jesse King of the Victoria Shamrocks. Things are moving around on me now. We got Nate Wade, captain of the Nanaimo Timbermen, joining us, and the captain of the Langley Thunder in Connor Robinson. Thanks for joining us here, guys. I kind of figured, since we've kind of been away for a couple of years, that the theme should maybe be here tonight is new. We got new players, we got new coaches, we got new rules here in the WLA this season. So I kind of want to go around and talk a little bit about what's new with your club. Vinny, why don't we start with you? And it's new for the Coquitlam Adnats to be sitting at the top of the standings here, kind of at the midway mark of the season. I know you've been banged up a little bit with an injury, but you guys are out to a real nice start and getting it done with a bunch of new pieces there in Coquitlam. Just maybe talk about the start of the year for you guys, and you're sitting in a good spot here, kind of at the halfway point.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jake. New is definitely the theme of our dressing room this year. This being, I think, maybe 8th or 9th year in the league, not too many familiar faces coming back after COVID and everything, and we got guys from, all the way from Nova Scotia, Boston, Philly, Manitoba, Sask. So everyone was kind of really starting fresh. And even still in those first few games, with Colorado going as far as they did and having, Pats and Bish kind of in and out, it was just a lot of guys trying to really work together, get to know each other, and just almost really rebuild. That's kind of what's really just worked for us. And for the guys that have been in the league, it's really starting to feel like that junior closeness in the dressing room, if that makes sense to anyone. But it was a really tight-knit group of guys that, considering we just met each other, a month and a bit ago, 2 months. But considering that, again, it is something new being at the top of the standings for us, but it's something that we want to continue to work towards, and nothing's guaranteed and easy in this league. So you got to keep working for it.
Yeah, some pieces that have been around in like Delmonico and Stroop and others, but you got 35 in goal. He's going to give you a chance to win every single night. But like I said, the new players here, and maybe not so much the Alberta guys on your team, because we kind of know those guys in McIntyre and Levi Anderson who have been pretty highly touted, but it's the guys like Ito and Draper. Tell me a little bit about some of the new players on your team, Vinny. And Scott Worley's clearly gone out and done his homework and scoured the country to find some really good kind of uncovered talent here.
Yeah, and it's kind of Beto. We have a few Bretts that we've brought in, but Beto and Draper and even Evan Downey and they've all come in with that same work ethic that they just want to be part of the team, want to do the right thing, want to learn more, and that's kind of become a contagious culture, if you will. And everyone's just buying in, trying to do the right thing, one shift at a time. It's kind of just been a theme for us, is just 5-minute periods. And that's something that, with so much new for guys, WLA is its own beast in itself. But with all those guys, we're just working together to chip away at it as a unit.
Help me out here before we move on. Is it Jaber or Jabber? Because I think I've been going the wrong way here at the start.
Yeah, it's Luke Jabber.
Okay, I've been doing it right then. Okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
Kevin Reed, thanks for smiling, man, because you can be a little ornery from time to time. But you being the elder statesman now on this Burrard team, like I was calling a game out there the other week, and I was looking at the power play, and I don't think anyone had to have been older than 22 or 23 years old. It's crazy how young you guys are, and it must be fun for you being an older guy that's been around this league a long, long time. Maybe make you feel a bit younger playing with these young kids.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely interesting when you get there. And I think the next oldest player is like 27, and I'm sitting at 39. It's quite the gap. I think I've been in the league longer than some of these kids have been playing lacrosse. So it's interesting. But yeah, we're young. It's just draft picks and just a young group when we made those moves in the last years. Kind of stuck with the young guys, but we got a good squad. We got lots of athleticism and good hands and good sticks, and everybody's buying in. We just need to learn how to get those wins when it's 1-goal games. We're just struggling to find that, but we'll get there. And when we do, that's you got to look out for us.
Yeah, well, I've been kind of making the comment that that is something that you kind of have to learn how to do as a young club is win those 1-goal games, figure out how to get it done when it matters most. But I also said, like, if you can keep this core of young talent together in Maple Ridge with Ryan and Denny and Kajula and DMAC and all these guys, let these guys stay together for the next 3 or 4 years. Look out for the Maple Ridge Burrards.
Absolutely. I'm just there to try and be a little bit of a veteran to the kids and kind of show them, get them a little more even keel, because the highs and lows of a game, like it's lacrosse, there's lots of runs where the other team may get 3, you might get 3. Like we've come back a couple of times and tie it up, but the bench gets a little too excited and then you let one in. So like it's about staying even keel and just getting through those games, and no matter what, it's 0-0, right? You got to just play.
And yeah, I think you've calmed down a little bit, Kevin. Like we haven't seen. Tell me about this. How come you're not wearing number 40 this year?
I'm not wearing number. I am now.
Oh, okay.
They had to order a new jersey, and our equipment manager, he retired, so I gave him my jersey last year, and then he was like, "Well, do you want it back?" I was like, "No, man. I gave it to you to give it to you, so it's all yours."
Let's take it one step further with your 2 young goaltenders too, and Brandon Humphrey and Nate Facine. We see Nate, be 3rd goaltender in Colorado, and that was a great experience for him. Brandon's kind of been your number 1 guy and has really given you guys a chance to win every single night, and that's really all you can ask for out of your goaltender.
Absolutely, he's stood on his head a lot, and it does come down to goaltending, but it comes down to everything. And he's played a heck of a great start to the season. Nate, like, can't fault any of our goaltending for our losses. It's usually that we're young and we do something dumb, or we just costly mistakes here and there. But we're like you said, the average age is like 23 on that team, so they just got to learn, right? We got to learn how to just settle down and pick away.
Let's move along here to the Burnaby Lakers and Laszlo Henning, who's very apropos. He's got his mic muted. Now it's unmuted. This guy's been on Zoom before. Love to see it. Laszlo, we've never had a chance to kind of meet in person, but I've been watching you play in the WLA for a few years now. Maybe tell me that. How did you find your way to the WLA? Did Kevin Hill go out and find you, or did you start to inquire to some WLA teams that you wanted to come west and play?
Yeah, after playing my junior in Calgary, I just wanted to keep competing, and I reached out to the Lakers, and Kevin offered me a tryout. So I was out here and made the team in 2019. The rest is history, I guess. Moved out.
Well, I mean, it's a history that's in the making, I would say, Laszlo. And when you came out in 2019, like, I don't think you were a regular contributor in the lineup, and you've kind of worked your way into that position to the point now where you're wearing a letter on your jersey. And that's going to feel pretty special to you. A lot of hard work and effort put into that. And now you've become one of the leaders on this Burnaby team.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. I mean, showing up to the rink every day, you never really know who's going to be there. Young team, just developing and kind of organizing ourselves, and just showing up to the rink every day. And Kevin trusted me, so try to fire the boys up in the dressing room and get practice going. It's great.
And you guys, I mean, there's been some turnover there in Burnaby as well. No more Robert Church, no more Matt Beers, no more Eli McLaughlin, but that's given an opportunity to some other guys. Torrin Eccleston comes to mind on what he's been doing so far this year. I know he's catching the attention of some NLL GMs around the league. What can you tell me about Torrin? Because I've never met him either.
Oh, Torrin's a great guy. I grew up in Calgary playing with him since we were like 10 or 11. And he's done it his whole life, just put the ball in the net. I'm still amazed how he does it sometimes. But, there's a house of about 4 Albertans living for the Lakers. And, it's a party out there all the time. So...
Well, I hope that hasn't contributed to the record right now, Laszlo, but I kind of look at the numbers here with the Lakers. And again, like the Birds, I feel like it's not far off. A couple of things stand out to me. And 2 of them are the amount of shorthanded goals you've given up, which I think is a correctable thing for you guys. And the other one is your power play. It just needs to kind of get going again. And if you can get those 2 things kind of dialed in, I think you're going to see more wins in the column.
Yeah, being in this league, you got to score on the power play. It's a free opportunity to get a shot in net, and giving up goals on the back end is just something that we can fix, and we're in the process of doing it.
Jesse King, I know you got your gear on. You're eager to go practice, as you always are. So I appreciate you spending a little time with the WLA fans here before you go do that. Coming off a loss against Nanaimo, but a pretty good start out of the gate here for the Shamrocks. And, personally, I wasn't really kind of sure what kind of team I was going to see in Victoria. I knew it wasn't going to be the fully loaded, star-studded lineup that we're kind of used to seeing. But I think you've surprised a lot of people, not only you brought in Brad Cree, and I hear Priolo's on his way too, so that's definitely going to help. But a lot of local flavor on the team. You're going to get your good buddy Wardle back, which is going to help you as well.
Yeah, I think getting Chris back is always going to be, a guy who's a leader in the locker room. He's a leader on the floor, and he's a guy that works extremely hard. So, and he's coming off a championship, so he's got some fresh motivation. So that's always exciting. And yeah, we've got quite a young team ourselves with a lot of guys that, and maybe not young so much as age, but as young as in like experience. We've got some guys that might not have played on our team a few years ago. They're stepping up into bigger roles, guys like Nick Preston, who's really kind of adapted to being on the back end and playing defense compared to what he's been playing in the past. And like you said, a lot of Victoria guys now. I think our ownership does a really good job, trying to draft local talent and trying to keep them in Victoria, which is not always easy to do. But with that, you get that core group of Victoria guys that are in town because, it's always tough to get guys to travel to the island to play and vice versa to get the mainland, the guys on the island to travel over to the mainland to play, especially in the summer with everything that everyone's got going on. But I think we've got a good young team, and we've got guys that are going to work hard every single game. And I think we need to just continue to kind of play off of that and try and continue to be successful.
Speaking of having fun and playing off each other, how much fun are you having playing with Marshall this season?
I mean, playing with our entire offense is pretty fun. We got, a few young guys with Marshall, and, Jake Foster has really come into his own as a guy who, works mostly with the ball in the ALL and when he was out in Calgary, and now he's kind of had to adapt and play that off ball position, which I think he's done really well with. And, with Marshall, it's always he's got one of the stronger shots that I've ever seen. And I just felt like he wasn't taking opportunity with that and being able to shoot more. So we're always promoting him to shoot the ball. And, anytime you get to play with a sibling and a brother, it's always extremely exciting and humbling, especially when your mom and dad are in the stands.
I had a chance to see Lauren the other day when I was over in Victoria. Always a treat to have a chat with big Lauren. And I want to ask you this, Jesse, because we've seen a number of players depart to play in the PLL, and you're a guy that had that opportunity to do that, but you chose to stay home and play for your hometown Shamrocks. And I think that just kind of speaks to how much playing for Victoria means to you and playing box lacrosse in your hometown.
Yeah, you grew up as a kid watching the Victoria Shamrocks play, and for guys that are playing in the NLL, I'm sure they can speak to this as well, is it's a lot of travel during the year. And then, you got to go travel again some more in the summer. And with your regular job that you have going on, it can be a little bit difficult sometimes. So it also makes that decision a little bit easier to stay home in the summer. But like I said, playing in the Q Arena on Fridays in front of 2,000 people, which I think we've averaged every game this year, is something that's always really special. And I know it gets everybody really excited in our locker room. So just to be a part of that is always really humbling and exciting.
I think that's exciting for all players and teams that get to go to Victoria to play some lacrosse. It was always one of my favorite stops along the way, not just for the hot dogs either. As we'll turn our attention to the new Westminster Sandbellies, and a guy that I'm sure would love to be doing some traveling right now is Tyrell Hammer-Jackson, who I know the Bellies are practicing right now, and you're off the floor, Hammer, rehabbing. Maybe we'll start there. How close are you to a return?
It's close. It's pretty close. I just gotta pass a few tests and convince a few people, and then I'm good to go. But it's all in their hands right now. I got really no say.
You're feeling like you could get out there though?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's pretty close. I mean, like I said, it's out of my hands, but I wish it wasn't. So.
Well, how difficult has it been on you? This is kind of your first major setback as far as injuries go in your career, I would think. And guys handle this a little bit differently than some others. How have you managed to kind of get through this, stay positive, and keep working hard?
Honestly, just kind of staying in the game, staying coaching, staying relevant to even my kids, like my young kids I coach, going to their games, showing up, watching, staying in, because I can't really do much right now. I can't even work, or, I'm pretty much stuck doing rehab until they gave me the green light, which is kind of, it's all red light until it hits green light, and it's all going to come all at once. So work and lacrosse come hand in hand. And yeah, I've just been kind of staying around the game and keeping it healthy like that. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, I made the comment on the webcast, I think it was on Thursday, like I was watching you while I was calling the game, and you stand across the floor from my location, and you're barking through the glass at Belgrave where to line up. You're trying to help Janak on where to pull the ball to. I think I even saw you at one point swing the gate open so you could yell out onto the floor. Like, even though you don't have a jersey on, you're fully engaged and into the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of helping with the draw team there. They got two guys in the circle that have never taken draws in their life before. So we've been kind of working with them for the last few months, and kind of taking someone that's never really done it before is pretty fun. And I mean, the guys, I think they're 38% right now, but it's kind of fun to give them a style and a stance and an understanding of that it's more than just blowing the whistle and the ball's going to be somewhere. Like, you can set these guys up and balls pop out in certain spots. Like, there's if you do things properly, there's no surprises, and there should be no fast breaks off the face off, which is it's a big thing for this team here, right? Like a lot of teams will go into games and that's one thing that'll break them down. So that's one thing that we're not letting happen, and kind of just taking away the simple things on the draws so it doesn't affect the game, right? It's one at a time. And yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of fun taking two kids that never really done it before, and now they kind of have a good idea and know what to do. And now I got a couple training partners, which is nice.
Well, let me give you a free plug here, because did I not see the Bellies are hosting a free face-off clinic coming up here? Do you want to plug that in?
Yeah. July 7th, 3 o'clock to 4:30 at Queen's Park. We're having a free little face-off clinic. All our coaches will be there, and even a guy like Nate Wade could show up and learn something.
I was waiting for the first little.
You're not wrong.
From Hammer. I love it. Well, let's talk about this Bellies team here a bit, Tyrell, because a lot of turnover. We've seen Mitch in and out of the lineup kind of with nagging stuff, and a few guys have gone to play senior B, and it's probably not the start that New West was looking for, but still kind of right in the mix there, and a good second half where you guys can push yourself into a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the same position as everyone else. I mean, we're calling guys up. We've seen a lot of young faces. Our group has a good core group, like the McBrides, the Jonesies, the Jasons, Clark, Salty, Malcolm. Like they got a good core group. It's just if guys are healthy and they all play in the same lineup. Sorry, Cornwall. There's a few other boys. Gillies. I don't want to forget anybody, but yeah, there's a solid group, but it's just numbers. You know how summer ball is. Like you got to show up. You got to kind of just make with what you got, and sometimes you get some wins you don't even know you're going to win. So it's good to see a group like this come together. Honestly, I have no business winning some games, but they just battle it out and they play 60 minutes. And I mean, even that game against Maple Ridge, that was a good game to watch. Like that's two teams that are young and not much experience, and it was pretty good lacrosse.
Well, I'm pretty impressed. We made it to 622 here without a 4-letter word from Hammer. So I think that might be a record right there. So we appreciate that.
Well, yeah.
We'll talk about Zach Higgins.
Working at me, so I don't have to swear at him. It's all good.
Yeah, there you go. Let's move along here. Nanaimo, who I think has been a real nice story so far this year. Nate, you got the C on your jersey for the team in this year, and being a Victoria guy, and then moving up to Nanaimo and playing for the team in, and now wearing the captaincy. That's a nice little honor for you.
100%. It's a great honor. Like we had growing up there, we've kind of had a majority of Victoria guys. Like my first year up there, I think we had more Victoria guys than Victoria had. So it's pretty crazy. Brody Eastwood was our captain before that. So I kind of learned a lot from him. And, you know, like everyone else, we got a young team as well. We have guys kind of from all over the place and a new coach. So it's been a great season so far.
Yeah, tell me about Tawani. Like I know Tawani pretty well off the floor and you know through other channels and stuff, but not as really as a coach. But when I watch him coach, he seems very mild-mannered, very calm and collected and calculated. Like you never see him kind of get way too excited or freak out or yelling at refs or anything. He's always just kind of very zen-like. And I always say that your team will kind of take on the personality of your coach. Is that kind of how Nanaimo rolls? They take after Tawani?
Yeah, I've never played for a team that's had such a calm coach before in my life. Like you normally have a coach that's continuously barking at a ref, but with Tawani, it's just he's so confident in everything he does. It's all about trusting the process. And you know, sometimes when we lose our games, you learn from it. You learn from the little things. You fix your mistakes you made the game before, and we're lucky where we've been a team so far where we've lost a game, but we fix what we did wrong and we come out and we play a good game the next game. And it also comes with like players gaining confidence. Like Tawani's continuously talking to us, like to have trust in one another and to play confident. And you can kind of tell as we're getting later into the season that guys are starting to play with more confidence, and you can tell by just the way we are on the floor, like we're starting to come together as a team.
Tell me about this game on Thursday against the Shamrocks. I was calling a game at Queen's Park, but I had a corner of my eye on this, and I know Jesse's here, and I don't want it to get a little weird and awkward, but that was a big win for you guys on your home floor, and that Mitchell McCullough little bout didn't disappoint either. A little cleanup on the floor after that thing. Tell me about this Mitchell kid and how important that win was to the team and you guys.
Well, honestly, once again, being a Victoria guy, you always get hyped up for those games against Victoria. Like, unfortunately, I was suspended the first game in Victoria, but, you know, sitting there watching, it just kind of gets you fired up for the next game. But yeah, no, Brent's a big boy. He's a big Berta boy. The thing about him is no one knows who he is. So no one really knew what he's capable of doing. And honestly, it's nice. I don't have to be that guy anymore that has to get in the fights and stand up for my teammates. Like, you have him, and I can kind of focus on playing lacrosse and, you know, trying to lead the team. But I don't think I'd mess with Brent.
No, it was a sight to see. Let's move along here to Langley. We'll circle back here, guys, as we'll spend a little bit more time with you. Connor, first thing I gotta say, brother, is congratulations, man. NLL champion with the Colorado Mammoth. You've been chasing a ring for a while, man. You finally got one. That had to feel pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't feel bad. It was it was a special year. You know, we dealt through a lot of adversity, a lot of stuff going bad, and everyone counting us out, but we kind of stuck to our guns, you know, with Patty at the helm. He's such a great coach. He knows how to bring the team together and fire you up. So yeah, we set a goal at the beginning of the year, and it was pretty special to finally win that and to celebrate with those guys in the room.
The party started. Did you guys get to be a part of the Avalanche Stanley Cup parade? Did I see that?
Yeah, there was a couple guys, a couple local Denver guys who lived down there who got the last minute invite. So they rented out a fire truck, went down there, got a couple pictures taken.
You can rent a fire truck? Is that's a thing?
It's a figure of speech. They hopped on one of the fire.
Okay.
But no, they got to hang out with Lord Stanley for a little bit. We compared. There's a little bit bigger than ours, but no, it was pretty cool to see those small and few in between Mammoth fans wearing their Mammoth gear over the Avs gear in that parade. So it was pretty cool to see all the videos and see all the guys kind of happy and kind of enjoying the win. Just so happy for those guys who've been there for so long and been snake bitten for a while to finally win one.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're wearing the captaincy in Langley this year. What lessons or things that you learned with the Mammoth and that team can you bring to Langley and try and instill in that room?
I think the big thing is it doesn't matter who is on the floor. Anyone can win at any night. It's who shows up and what the guys are like in the room. So, I mean, in our room, we had Ryan Lee go down. We had Eli McLaughlin go down, 1 and 2 on our team in leadership and points. And we stuck to our guns and we went toe to toe with the best and we came out on top. So it's just, it doesn't matter who's in, as long as you're playing together and playing as a team, then, I mean, anything's really possible. It's a game of lacrosse. We're all playing A ball for a reason. We know how to play this game. It's just who scores more goals at the end of the night.
Well, you guys are, right at the 500 level here, and a lot of new pieces on that Langley team as well, and a lot of high-end talent, Connor, including yourself and Dobes and Dixon and Church. The list kind of goes on there, but the goals haven't really come, I think, the way that a lot of people had expected. But with that being said, I think it also kind of takes some time for you to learn how to play with each other. And I don't think there's any panic in that Langley room, but now that we hit the halfway mark of the season here, it's kind of time to get going.
No, absolutely. I mean, picking up off-season acquisitions, just specifically on the offensive end, like Churchy and Dixon and Dobie, what team wouldn't want those three guys in your offensive end? And yeah, the goals haven't been going, but we have a really nice mix of old veteran guys who've been there, who want to know what it takes to win, as well as some young guys who are kind of hungry, looking to get back after it after a few years off. So I think that's a good little balance. And yeah, like you said, the goals haven't been coming right now, but I mean, we got everyone back now. I know myself and Kinnear were the last two pieces of our offense to come back. So we got us two back. So hopefully we'll start building a little bit more chemistry for the second half of the season.
Big Frank in goal doesn't hurt either. You got Maas and Scanlon up front on the other side of. How good are these Lupo boys?
They're scrappy. I'll tell you that. They
get under your skin a little bit, right?
I tell everyone I love those guys. They're some of my best friends, but you don't want to be playing against them, but you love having them on your team because they like to get after it. They like to get in the I got to think of another word so I don't swear on this. Get in the dirty stuff. But they definitely like to get after it, and it kind of brings our defense. It gives us a little bit of energy and gives the other guys on the floor a little bit of energy too.
We talked a lot. Well, I talked to Nate about Tawani and you know, Robbo, you mentioned Pat, who's the head coach of the Adnacks, and what a job that he's done. Reader, you've been with Sato for a while, but you got a coach on that bench that's much younger than you and Zach Porter, but a real knowledgeable guy, a former junior captain as well. What has Zach Porter brought to your bench?
Well, Ports brings that, he brings the knowledge of the D that we've ran. He was there with us when we went to a couple man cups, and he knows our systems very well, and he's able to help out with these young guys, because a lot of these guys are coming into a new system that none of them have played, and that's the struggles right now, right? It's him and Sato, they're doing a hell of a job coaching these kids. And then it's up to the other veterans of like me and DJ Sari to try and right that ship as well and help out as much as we can. But yeah, Zach brings a ton of knowledge to that back end.
Jesse, I know you're taping up and you're anxious to get going, so I'll ask you and then you can take off if you want, man. But longtime coach there, Bobby Hayes, no longer on the Shamrocks bench, but also a longtime coach and former Shamrock, and Mikey Simpson, now the big voice in charge there. What's it been like playing for Simmer?
Yeah, Simmer is he's great. Like you kind of said, he's a longtime Shamrock guy. So, and he wore the C for a little bit there. He's had a long career playing in the summer, and he's a guy that stays relatively calm on the bench, but he's also extremely knowledgeable for our offensive side of the ball. And then he also just has a lot of trust in all of our players, and I think that's one of the biggest things with all of these really successful coaches is that they have a lot of trust in their players. And I think Simmer's done a great job at the start of this year, as a head coach, and obviously having that experience as assistant coach the last few years is going to really help for him moving forward.
Jesse, thanks, man. Enjoy practice. Say hi to the gang for me.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Laszlo, you got a whole new set of coaches there in Burnaby with Stockdale and Wheat Sky, and Travis Gillespie has got a ton of international experience. Those three guys kind of bring something unique in their own right to that bench.
Oh yeah, a lot of experience putting up fires. No, they're all great guys. Gillespie he's running the defense pretty well. He's in there like a dirty shirt, loves getting the guys all together, and he has them running around whacking people, so it's good. Pete's running the offense, and he's, historic career. He's won pretty much everything underneath the sun. So he's a great guy to learn from, and just, he just loves playing lacrosse, and it rubs off on you. And Todd is, running both ends, doing everything. So he's just a great guy to have on the bench, and it's fun to play for him.
Does he still talk about like how good he was on breakaways? Stockdale, for the slowest guy ever, Todd Stockdale got a ton of breakaways in his career.
Yeah, he just preaches the bounce shot. So just shoot the ball at the floor.
Makes sense. Connor, Roddy's been there in Langley for, I want to say, close to a decade now, but he's got Dave Pym with him this year. And Pimmer brings a lot of NLL experience with him, some Alberta experience with him at the junior level as well. And he can run pretty hot, but Pimmer's kind of had to tone down a little bit this year due to some health concerns. But what have you learned from him so far?
Yeah, you know what? I had the pleasure of meeting him on Wednesday for the first time. He's, like you said, he definitely knows how to try to fire the boys up. He's very passionate about what he does, and he brings a lot of energy to the bench. And I think that's really good for everyone, where you can just see how passionate he is and how much he wants it and how much he cares about it, especially on the O end. And then just talking on Roddy is just, yeah, like you said, he's been there for so long. He's been there for a reason. The guys in the room love him. I mean, he loves what he does, and he always comes with a smile on his face. He's always demands the best out of us. And it's just, it's awesome to have him on the bench and to call him a coach.
The master of the video breakdown as well. Nate, I don't know if you knew this about your assistant head coach, Brian Nicola, but he was once traded for a guy named John Tavares. Did you know this back in the old MILL days? Does he ever talk about that?
He may or may not have brought that up a few times. He likes to talk about glory days. That's for sure.
On the beautician scale of 1 to 10, he's like 9.5 though, right?
100%. Pretty close to a 10, probably 9.8.
Okay, we'll give it to
Yeah.
him. We'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Hammer, you got Rory and Jonesy there. And Randy, if I'm not mistaken, the last guy to lead the WLA in scoring using a wooden stick. You can maybe bring that up to him. But what have you learned from Randy Jones, who's been around this league a long, long time?
Can I swear or no?
Well, try not to. We would appreciate it.
Keep 2 hands on your stick.
Okay.
Just make it pass and catch the ball. That's it.
And
Stick
Vinny,
to the basics with him. He's a beauty, but stick to the basics.
yeah.
You won't get yelled at.
We'll end off with you on the coaches topic here, Vinny. And I know Pat and Bish have been around the Adnac organization for a number of years, winning Minto Cups with the junior team, but making the move up to senior, and they just won themselves an NLL championship as well. That's got to be a very calm, reassuring feeling that you have championship caliber coaching coming into your locker room every night.
Yeah, and it's something that's just for my career alone. We've kind of had quite a few changes in the past 7-8 years with coaches. So it's nice to have, even with COVID, the stability and especially someone like Pat that I grew up watching as a young Adnac fan, right? And so that for the local guys, you have that plus the fact that they're coaching with the Mammoth and how far they went with them, and that was so much new, like we talked about earlier, having that presence, and both Bish and Pat just bring, this kind of calm presence, but also wanting to get the best out of you. And, I think they've done an excellent job of, creating that culture of just work ethic. And that's really what we've been chipping away at. But, like I said, it's growing up watching Pat and the Adnacs and then now having him as a coach has been kind of, something you dream about when you're younger. And, the younger guys that are newer to senior, a lot of them had an experience with Pat or Bish and junior, right? So that helps kind of bridge the gap. And all the younger guys kind of rub off on that. So it's nice to have.
And you, while you've been out of the lineup, banged up a little bit, you've been on the bench doing a little coaching yourself. Do you think that's something that's going to be in your future when you're done playing?
Well, I hope that's a little further away than I'd like to think. But, it's something that I think is in all of our blood, right? You can't get away from the game. So whether you're playing, the body lets you, or moving on into whatever role you can. But lacrosse is something that I don't see kind of leaving my life anytime soon in whatever way, especially to help the A's. I can do it.
There you go. Well, I'm going to ask you guys all this one more question here. And I mentioned the new rules, and the new rules that have been put into the WLA are kind of aligned with the National Lacrosse League rule book in order to kind of speed up the game and make it more entertaining. So I'll ask kind of each one of you this. How have you liked the rules changes so far? And is there one that you don't like or one that you do like? Or even I'll take it a step further. If you could implement a new rule, maybe what that might be. Kevin, let's start with you.
You put me on the spot, Jake. I don't.
We'll come back to Reader.
I'm the old guy that liked the old rules. I'm okay with the both. I like the rules. It makes the game a lot faster and quicker. Getting the ball up in 8 seconds, where you could hold the ball down there and do whatever you wanted. It was just, it's slow. It speeds the game up. It's better for the fans and everybody. When I talk to people that come out, they're like, "Wow, it's a lot quicker. It's more fun. It's not so slow getting up the floor with the change with the offense to defense and stuff like that. It's just a lot quicker." So I enjoy the rules. I don't know if there's too many that I would change more, because then it's just gonna. Well, I think they should bring back more fighting.
Okay.
There's got to be more fights.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, that's I'm not. You know where I stand on the whole thing, Reader. So let's.
I got to get in there. Can't wait for Langley.
Well, okay, I'll leave it at that. Laszlo, the 8-second rule, I think, has probably been the biggest one, right? Forcing the tempo up the floor. Has it been a tough adjustment for you or maybe some other guys to kind of wrap your head around that, hey, I got 8 seconds to get this thing over?
Yeah, I mean, clearing the ball up from the DN, the O guy coming off the bench, you really got to give him a little support. But, hopefully you'll get that breakaway pass going down the floor anyways. But 8 seconds really speeds up the game, and it makes you think if you shoot the ball, you got either one step forward or one step back. There's no in between.
Yeah, and Nate, it always helps to have a goaltender like Claxton who can really whip the ball around to kind of help with that clear and start the transition, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, it's when you have a goalie with a good stick, you're able to just trust him that when you start running, he's going to get you the ball. It's nice. I've had goalies that haven't been able to throw the ball, and it kind of changes the whole game. But no, I love the new rules for it. I'm not going to make some comments about some things.
Well,
I'll stay away from the reffing topic. But
okay.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot. It's very similar to the NLL. It's hard. Just, the rest are still learning the rules. So some games you play the 8 seconds, some games you get about 15 seconds. But once again, everyone's still learning. But I think it's changed the whole game, and like the transitions there now, and it's nice. It's like I'm even crossing center now, which is weird because you have that 8 seconds. I can't just hang out back there with the ball, wait for no guy to get it. So it's kind of changed everyone's playing style.
Yeah, it really forces your hand. And I think the ultimate goal is to unify it all for players, coaches, referees, broadcasters. So we're not going like, what crease rules are we playing? Are you allowed to dive through the cylinder, or are you allowed to pluck the ball out of the crease? Like, these are still things that I'm still trying to kind of figure out. Connor, has there been any issues in the Langley locker room that you guys have been confused on?
No, I think a lot of guys have either watched the NLL long enough and kind of were familiar with the rules or played in the NLL. I think it's really good for the game, the new rules. I think the center line, it's a bit dumb just because like in Langley, it doesn't have a center line. So if we want to do one of those rules, we actually have to get one, because obviously when it comes to crunch time and to playoffs, like if that one call goes the wrong way, and I mean,
get the spray paint out. What's happening there in Langley? I keep making the comment, there's no center line there at the LEC. What's up with that?
Yeah, no, you can spray paint it, but Buchan's going to be sending you the dry cleaning bill. So, no, I mean, I know there's not a lot of, I know a lot of arenas aren't as bad as Langley and like have a partial center line, but it's going to be something where whatever way it goes, somebody's not going to be happy, and there's going to be some parity between it. So just I like how it speeds up the game. I like how fast and more time on offense people get to spend, and it's a little more exciting for the fans. And I mean, if we could change one rule, I'd probably say, I know the D guys are going to disagree with me with this one, but maybe bring back the little sticks, because the big sticks are too big and it's harder to score
for the goalies.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like little mini sticks.
Oh, no. I don't like the big sticks. You can't shoot 5-hole, and it sucks.
And that's like your go-to almost, right? Like that's where
I never shoot 5-hole, but it's a good little option.
Trying to help you out here, man. Hammer, how have the face-off rules changed a little bit? I always see the officials kind of go out pregame and they put a strip of tape down near the center circle. Is there anything different from NLL to WLA for the face-off rules now?
Nothing between those two leagues that are different, but it has changed from previous years. Like this is the first year you're 4 inches from the ball. So like a good face-off guy that can have his head up and watch the ref and cut the ball without looking at the ball, teams will find a big advantage from that.
Are you one of those guys? I'm one
of those guys, but like even these younger guys that came up taking draws or go from field to taking draws, they can clamp the ball. They have to flip it out in one step. They can't carry it around the back anymore. Like when I played for Maple Ridge, all I had to do was get the ball in the back of my stick and run away till I could find somebody. But yeah, it's good. It's athletic now. It's kind of, the juniors are switch to this too, which I think the minors should have been done all the way up. So it's a good rule, and you'll find guys more in my position changing the game, like being effective in it. So yeah, the 4 inches is big.
Yeah, the one thing I would kind of like to see the WLA go away from is the manpower not changing, how it stays 5-on-5 when it's a coincidental minor instead of the 4-on-4 or the 3-on-3. I think the opportunity to have a little extra space on the floor, a little more entertainment, a little more scoring would be good, but I get the reasons why they don't do it. Vinny, let's end off with you. Tell me a rule that you would like to implement or change if you were, say, the commissioner of the WLA for a day.
Well, I think I'd have to take the offensive bias and agree with Connor there. And, you know, maybe if it's not the small sticks, maybe NLL size nets, you know, just something. I speak for the O guys, you know, it's harder and harder to score from further and further with those, you know, those size of nets. And, you know, the beating you take in the middle sometimes could spread it out. But that's also part of the WLAs. Like, you know, you got to get to those areas to score. So a little bit of an offensive bias there, but all the other rule change, you know, pushing the pace of play, you know, you're getting a lot more offense out of the D end. And, you know, you got, especially for us, having guys like Delbs back there is basically another player. It's been advantageous for us, but yeah, the offense.
You guys, I'm going to give you a chance for rebuttal here on these O guys that are whining about big sticks and getting hacked in the middle. You got anything to say to them before we let you go?
I agree with them. I think the small sticks, you know, I mean, I have no other complaints about it. I mean, I'm a D guy.
All right, Kevin.
On the off ball.
I want the bigger net and the small stick too, so maybe I can get a goal.
I know that feeling.
There we go.
All right, guys. I know you got practice to get off to, so I'll let you all go. A big thanks to Kevin Reed, Laszlo Henning, Jesse King, of course, Nate Wade, Connor Robinson, Vinny Ricci, and Tyrell Hamer Jackson. One more day off in the WLA before we resume action. Back out in Langley Wednesday night, Queens Park Thursday, the Swamp on Friday, Coquitlam at the Palace on Saturday. You got Nanaimo, Victoria in there, and then of course Maple Ridge Sunday nights at Camellia Arena. Boys, thanks for doing this. I know all the fans appreciate it, as do I, and we'll look forward to seeing you all around the rink soon.
See you Wednesday, Connor.
Oh,
So floor, let's go.
Thanks,
Bring
Trav.
him a beer. See ya.
thanks, guys.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Jake.